Hey, Jordy. Nice to see you again.
See you again.
Yeah, so the last time Jordy was here in 2013, he was the only guy in the world, he and his company, D-Wave, the only guy in the world making quantum computers. We didn't understand what quantum computers were, and I'm not sure I understand it now, but he was getting 10 million bucks a machine and selling them to some of the most important organizations in the world, like NASA, like the CIA, like Mr. Bezos. And so you gave a talk, and I looked at the talk in preparation for this thing, and I still don't quite understand what a quantum computer is. But in any case, you're not doing that anymore.
That's true.
And now you're interested in building humanoid robots that are almost identical to humans. Do I get that correctly?
That's part of it.
That's part of it. And will they be able to understand what a quantum computer is?
It's part of what I'm going to be talking about.
All right. Well, then why don't you get started?
All right. Thank you, Moses. Thanks, everybody. So, this is a really tough topic. Last time I was here 6 years ago, I framed what I wanted to say by giving a bunch of predictions about the future. I'm not going to do that this time. What I'm going to do is, instead of predict the future, what I'm going to try to do is explain a viewpoint. And the viewpoint is shared by a lot of people who are working in, call it the frontiers of AI nowadays. But to get to AI and the frontier of how we think about minds, I want to roll way back. So we have a long evolutionary history tracing back, depending on how you count it, a few 100,000 years, entities that are substantially like us. You could imagine, and I would encourage you to imagine, that you are a proto-human on the savannah of what's now Africa. And you're sitting together with your tribe, which could be the people in this room, coming back from a successful hunt. The wind picks up. Clouds boil above you. There's an immense earth-shattering boom. Lightning strikes right near your camp, maybe destroying half of the people in the tribe. Maybe you wake up a few hours later, and I wonder what you're thinking. Nature, the world that surrounds us, is a terrible and wondrous place, filled with chaos and difficult to explain things. We don't really need to go back to the prehistory of our thinking to understand how difficult the world around us is to explain. The other day I was walking back from work and I saw a monarch. That's not a monarch, but I saw a monarch butterfly. And I started thinking about this thing that people say, that monarchs from Canada all the way down to Mexico and back. I was thinking, I have no idea how that works. If you step outside of the myopic lens of everyday life and you look outside at a thing that's green or alive, you have to be humbled by the fact of how difficult it is for the human mind to even conceive of what's going on with these things. The natural world is filled with chaos and fury, terror and wonder. And I feel sometimes like we think we understand everything there is. And I was a theoretical physicist in a past life, and I'm guilty of this, but as I've gotten older, I've disavowed myself of some of those notions. But it's certainly the case that the world around us is very difficult to understand for a variety of reasons. Now, back not so long ago, maybe tracing back to our proto-human ancestors, one of the reasons that you might have ascribed to this bolt of lightning from the heavens is that it was caused by some supernatural agent, like God. And this idea that the terror and wonder that surrounds us has a cause is a very strong human, it's entwined with who we are as a species. So we like to understand the way things work. If we can't, we want to ascribe those things to something else. So religion throughout the history of our species, from the beginnings to now, has played an important role in trying to understand things, call it a theory of everything. Now, science, and Avery's going to be talking about this picture, I think, a little bit later. Science is a different way, maybe complementary, to explain nature. And as a physicist, I was always under the impression that if we really wanted to understand the way things are, what we did is we did a reductionist approach where we took everything there was and asked the question, what causes all of this at the most fundamental level? Is it strings? Is it some as yet to be unified theory of quantum gravity? So I thought that if you wanted the quest to know the truth of the matter, what you needed to do was understand the mathematical properties of the universe, this thing.